I'm going to show you how to disassemble any AK-47, 74, whatever variant you prefer. First things first. Alright. First thing we have to do is remove the dust cover from the weapon. And that's easily done by pushing in on this lug right here. That's the back of your recoil spring. If you push it in just enough and lift up on it, it'll just literally pop right off. Next, you got to remove your recoil spring. And once again, just by pushing on it, it will slide in and out on the grooves that are holding it in place. So if you push it in far enough, you can pop it out of those grooves, pull it out of your bolt carrier. Now that's out of the weapon. Next, we have to take out the bolt carrier. And it rides on these rails right inside the weapon. If we can get some light in there. See those rails right there, or what it rides on. And then I also got the top of the receiver where it's bent in, keep it in place. But you can see at the very rear, there's a little cutaway. Where if you pull it in, these rails right here that ride on it are just big enough. Check it out just to show you. Ooh, big enough just to come out of that clearing. And then it'll really just pop right out and just pull it all the way back. And you can just pull it out of the weapon. The rest of the weapon. Next, we gotta get the bolt out of the bolt carrier. Now, it rides in and out just like that. Your bolt. That's what causes it to rotate. Is this lug right here rides inside the channel that's grooved inside your carrier. So, in order to get it out, all we really have to do is turn it so it will go down, and then because there's a slight cutaway right here that push it all the way down, we keep turning it, the top of that lug will come out, and now you can just pull the rest of the carrier out, or the rest of the bolt out of the carrier. And that right there is a basic field strip of the weapon. We need to get a little bit more detail. We can take off the gas tube along with the muzzle device. Because generally when you're field stripping, you're generally cleaning, and it's good to get to those, especially if you shoot corrosive ammo, like I do. So, first thing, get the gas tube off. You need to turn this little lever right here. And depending on your particular weapon, you might be able to do it by hand. Sometimes I can do mine. Mine's fairly stiff. You just turn it, and it turns on that little pivot right there. We want to get it facing up. When we have it facing up, this, if you lift up on it, will literally just pop right off. And it just hinges on the gas block up front. We just set it right there. See if we can get it back on and take it off. Now if yours happens to be a little stiff, like mine is sometimes, that's where the standard cleaning kit for your AK comes in handy. Why you should always have one with your rifle. Because there's a little notch that's cut away. There's a little hole cut that's just big enough to fit on the protrusion on your lever. You put that on. And that gives you a little handle that you can either tighten it, get it back on, or in our case, use it to help get out of the groove to take it off. Point it up. Like I said, it'll just kind of come right off. That takes that off. Next, we need to take off the muzzle device. Now you can see right up top, you might be able to, there's a little pin right there. Right there. And that's a little spring-loaded pin that keeps this from turning off the rifle. So what we need to do is we need to push on that little pin. Push it in. And then we can start taking the device off. You usually want to get a few good turns, and that should come off just fine from the pin. And there we are. You can now clean out your muzzle device, clean off the threads, the front. Carbon likes to build up here, and that helps. Now if you have a 47, you're probably not going to have one of these style brakes. More than likely you'll just have a little slant cut style, but same process. And that's a basic field strip of the weapon. In order to put it back together, just simply reverse the process. get the gas tube on first. Usually make sure you have it pointed up, just like taking it off. And I'll really just push back on. Get my tool again. Turn the lever back to this little dimple right here. Maybe you'll see it. It's pushed in a little bit, and that's where it will safely rest and keep it from coming on and off. Screw our muzzle device back on. Now, if you're using one of these 74 style brakes, it'll click once, but usually, if you push it in, you can get one more good rotation out of it. Now hold it on a bit tighter. Alright, flip it out. And then take our bolt and our bolt carrier. Just drop the stem down the hole. And bolt carrier. Give it a rotation. We want this kind of triangular lug to rest inside the groove on the bolt carrier, as we talked about before, where it rides in and out. So pretty much just slide in and keep turning until it won't turn anymore. Then push it forward, and you can see it's back in that groove. Just stick the piston back through the gas tube, and then line up the little notches with the rail again, and it will slide right in. Take our recoil spring, put it in the back of the bolt carrier, push it in, and we want to put little protrusions back in the rails, and that will hold it in. There we go. When the bolt comes back, it will push it back forward. And then simply take your top cover. There's a little lip right here, in between, right underneath your front sight, but right before where the bolt rides, that you can set it right on, and then hinge it down. And then if it doesn't click, you can usually just give it a little, kind of wiggle it, and it will eventually pop back in. Function test. Second. And we're good. Now completely disassembled and reassembled your rifle. And you're ready to go back in action. Put the magazine in, you're all set.